Hi everyone, it's Zach with Palantir Research. Amazon's AWS CEO, Adam Selipsky, announced Amazon Q, and they literally have the same talking points as Palantir's AIP, so I'll play that section of the interview first so you can hear it yourself from the horse's mouth, but I'll also go over after how I think this is going to affect Palantir, or at least be related.
No, Q is, we're incredibly excited about Q. All the many customers that have been previewing Q in private are incredibly excited about it. And we think it's going to be transformative in helping to reinvent how people work. I mean, the existing chatbots or generative AI assistants are great for consumers, and so many of us, of course, have used them, experiment with them. But unfortunately, for the most part, they don't really work at work. They don't really know who you are. They don't really have access to your repositories. And for the most part, they've lacked security and privacy characteristics that are pretty much requirements for enterprises and many other companies. So Amazon Q is going to be tailored and customized to your business. We've built connectors to over 40 major systems, including Microsoft 365, including Google systems, including Salesforce, Zendesk, ServiceNow, and many others. And Q is going to be able to access those if you give Q access to them, but it's going to respect your privacy and security. If you don't have access to a database without Q, you're not going to have access to it with Q. But meanwhile, it's going to make it so much easier and more convenient to find data, to generate answers, to summarize things, to reach new conclusions, and to get to actual insights and actions. So it's going to integrate really well with the systems that people care about. It's going to be enterprise grade. And again, we're really excited about it because our customers are excited about it.
Adam, I know that you're someone that believes fundamentally choice is important when it comes to AI tools. What work are you doing on the diversity and ethics side here? We always talk a lot about silicon and product, but what about some of the guardrails and safeguards needed in AI?
It's incredibly important. Funny you should use the word guardrails, because this morning here at reInvent, where we have 50,000 people live in Las Vegas and over 300 other thousand people registered around the world, we actually announced guardrails for Amazon Bedrock. Bedrock is our foundation model as a service offering with all those models inside. And guardrails is a new capability which actually allows you to enforce your own responsible AI priorities and policies. So if you're a financial services company, you might have your chatbot not give investment advice. Or if you're a utility with a customer service chatbot or generative AI assistant, you might have it strip out the PII, or personally identifiable information, from the call summary to respect people's privacy. So we're taking it really seriously to the point of actually building in these leading edge capabilities that really aren't available from other providers. And in addition, it's really important that we're participating in the working groups that are discussing these things. We're going to need a multilateral approach of government, private sector, academics, and more. And I was at the White House with President Biden this summer, where we participated in these voluntary commitments around AI. Earlier this month, I was with the UK Prime Minister Sunak at a gathering where he announced an AI Safety Institute in the UK. And we're going to continue spending time participating in these dialogues.
So with the Amazon Q chatbot, they want to differentiate themselves first away from OpenAI, focusing on enterprise right off the bat. And that's the same market, obviously, that Palantir is focusing on right now. So basically, he said their ultimate goal is to get all the models onto AWS and be guided by what customers want. But we know ultimately they'd rather have them on AWS. But regardless, they transitioned to Amazon Q, which is the chatbot they're introducing. And their excitement about Q has been previewed to customers, of course. And they use some of the same language, honestly, that Palantir uses when not replacing workers, but changing how people work alongside AI. And they also focus on the security and privacy aspect too, which Palantir also brings up. So Amazon Q is definitely sounding to be an upcoming competitor, and more to be seen how this actually plays out though together. And with Amazon's resources and reach, they've already talked about how they've gotten this connected and integrated to already the systems customers have, like Microsoft, Zendesk, and all the common enterprise products at an organization. And they also talk about Amazon Bedrock with their guardrail capabilities to enforce your own AI security for that organization across commercial and government organizations. So there's a lot to take in here. Now, the first point I think I want to point out is that he mentioned they've already previewed this to customers. And we know AWS has a vast network of all the world's enterprises, honestly, using their product today. So this resource they can tap is so valuable for their product development side that we know Palantir does also have a strong customer relation too, but it definitely is something not the size of Amazon. And basically, you can't ignore that. It's noted their service will be able to connect to more than 40 enterprise systems. So this is the argument Palantir probably needs to compete with, which is the ease of integration, of course, course, into an organization. So we know Palantir operates on a layer above this cloud aspect, so they are cloud agnostic, but I don't know if Amazon Q will operate in a similar manner there, and also it seems to connect to this as well. Now, the Amazon AWS S3 storage is a given, honestly, for Amazon, and lots of organizations use them already for cloud storage, so this is already the face in the door as a salesman, that you've got this established relationship already to compete with Palantir, and they may need to do this against every organization going forward. And now, I don't know the exact amount of time they've been working on this for Amazon, and they're obviously not as open about their military or government applications, as we know, at least in comparison to Palantir, but IL6 is also important to note, which Amazon and Microsoft have so as well, alongside Palantir. So I'm not saying they're going to go after Palantir's almost incumbent status in the military software aspect, but it's another point just to keep in the back of our minds down the line. And then another point too is that, and this is obvious but crucial to point out, like I said, security and privacy were one of the big talking points, especially in regards to enterprises. And this was something that Adam wanted to talk about in the interview, and it looked like it here. And we know this is the direction that Palantir has taken, starting with their foundational work around purpose-based access controls, because you want those insights without necessarily accessing them when it's an infringement on someone's rights, and you want the users to be beholden to this. But this concept is literally the same for businesses, but more so for regulatory and practical purposes for security. Amazon looks to be taking the same playbook as Palantir because it's pretty obvious this is important to employers, especially if an employer was trying to use OpenAI's ChatGPT to do some of their work here, but they were afraid, of course, their data getting exposed. But now Amazon Q can give them that out here, and of course they're reputable and have AWS stamp of approval, and if their data is already going to be on their storage here, then that's just another plus. Now, another third point is I don't know the exact extent of how powerful this product will be here. I know the major differentiator, in my opinion, for Palantir is running AIP's infrastructure all on top of an ontology, which is important to giving real meaning to the data because you know it's that they're related to one another and how they're almost like levers for each other if one changes and how it affects the other one here. So you get that holistic view here of what just happens. Now, if AWS is isolating this amongst databases or only tying data together, but not necessarily bringing actual meaning to their relationship to each other, then that can lead to a possible shortfall here, but I wouldn't doubt that they've already thought about this and are trying to work on this and build something of their own like an ontology. And I do confess I need to do more deeper research here into all of this, of course, but since it's so new, I wanted to make sure other Palantir investors can start to do their own research into Amazon Q as well. And we do know Amazon already has their network of established customers and already showed their monetization model too after the preview period here, where it's $20 per business user, and that's per month, with $25 per person if they want more developer or IT features. So at least from an Amazon shareholder perspective, it's nice to have that insight into the monetization model, whereas Palantir, it's still kind of unclear and convoluted on the specifics though, because we know it's like a sales funnel to get those organizations into their sales funnel of ontology and Foundry at the other end of that. So we know that AIP is just that really big showstopper that gets people in the door, but we know down the line, we don't know exactly how much money this is going to bring in. But we know that it leads down to the ontology, which is crucial to get that maximized usage of your data here. So hopefully that works out for Palantir. The other interesting part here is continuing to monitor how Amazon markets Amazon Q. And will they bring up something new to the table with new talking points that Palantir hasn't already said? It's like, is there a blind spot in security controls or privacy that Amazon Q might or might not cover in comparison to Palantir? Or is it something similar to a Microsoft where they already have this established relationship? Who needs that superior product when you already have easy access and a good enough product for enterprises? And remember, it's not necessarily a zero-sum game here too, where artificial intelligence is a growing market and still has yet to be even known what truly can be done and where it can be applied. It can end up that both of these solutions continue to grab a lot of new customers in the future, and they don't really step on each other's toes, or maybe not. And I think the real test over the next few quarters, though, is two things. One, if we see customer numbers starting to slow down or stagnate there, then that will be very bad, of course, and that'd be on the official scorecard. Or two, which would basically also confirm this here, is the concerns is if management has talking points or starts going away from that and gets quiet about how fast AIP bootcamps are working or seeing difficulty with an ever-growing competitive landscape. This would be more concerning, of course, considering us investors have been told by Karp himself in the past that we're years ahead of competitors. But obviously a lot of new information has changed. So as us outside investors here, we don't truly know everything going on or the thoughts of management, and especially when these new products come out here. But it's just important to look out for, especially with upcoming earnings eventually. So today, at least, I'm not worried just because of the sheer size and infancy of the AI market here. And of course, Amazon just announced it. And it's not like smaller companies have not thrived even amongst the growth of these big tech giants in the past. So we'll really need to see over time how this actually plays out alongside Palantir, and hopefully they can come out on top or at least grow alongside each other with Amazon Q around.